Hi everyone. Today I want to show you how to set up the external credentials for an HTTP callout where you need your Salesforce users to personally authenticate with an external system. When we're done with the setup, the users will be able to authenticate from the settings page and then use the HTTP callout to send information to the external system. We need to set up the authentication provider, the external credentials, and the permission set. After this, you can go ahead and create the named credential and the HTTP callout action that you can use in your flow to let the users send information to the external system. So let's get started. We start by setting up the authentication provider. We go to settings and search for Auth, select Auth providers, then we click new and select the provider type. I'll select OpenID Connect as I need the users to authenticate through an internal authentication service. I got the details for the authentication provider from the department that's in charge of the authentication service and the endpoint that I want to connect to. When you request the consumer key and the consumer secret, they might need you to provide the callback URL. You'll find this in the bottom of the page when you have saved the authentication provider, but you can also construct it yourself. So it's constructed by the URL of your org, followed by /services/auth callback/ and then the name of the auth provider that you gave it. Now we need to set up the external credential. Search for name in the quick search and select named credentials. Then we select external credentials and click new. We give the external credential a name and select the correct authentication protocol. I'll use OAuth 2 and use the browser flow as the flow type. Finally, I select the auth provider that I just created. Now we need to add a principal that we'll use in a permission set to let the users authenticate. The identity type should be per user principal, so each user authenticates personally. Before we can authenticate, we need to create a permission set and assign it to ourselves. In the external credential principal access, we add the principal that we created on the external credential. We also need to give access to the user external credentials object, as this is where the encrypted tokens are stored. This access is required to perform an authenticated callout. Okay, we're ready. Let's assign the permission set to ourselves. And now we can authenticate by going to our personal settings and selecting external credentials. You just click allow access and then you'll log in with your credentials for the authentication. Salesforce saves the token and refreshes it when necessary. If your authentication service is restarted, your users might need to revoke access and then allow access again to gain a valid token. So that was it. Now you're ready to go ahead and set up the named credential and the HTTP callout action for your flow.